Welcome to a beautiful edition of Snack in a Movie. It is fall and it feels like summer. We're on the rooftop of the Roost on Corydon. Special thanks to Elsa that came on her day off. And I have this young filmmaker here, Nigel Webber.
Hi there.
Hi there. And you're crying because it's so wonderful.
So sunny out, I can't see anything.
Well, you know what? You can put the sunglasses
All right.
on. I'll allow
thanks.
that.
Thanks,
yes.
thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
Well, it makes you look very, very sexy and like director film noirish, okay?
It's not really the idea, but...
All right, so you are a film grad from the UW, but what really I think attracted or twigged my curiosity is this little series called City Specific. And you do have like the very first segment of it. So explain what City Specific is.
So City Specific is a series that I developed a couple of years ago. It's short documentaries focusing mainly on people, individuals, personalities, groups in Winnipeg that I think are doing something interesting and unique and trying to contribute something to the community that is really lacking, I think.
Really? So now you're a one-man band.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes, so you shoot, edit, and you come up with the concept.
Yeah.
And it's shot very, very beautifully. So we are
Thank
going
you.
to start with the first segment, and it's about the Roost and the co-owner, Elsa. So what is unique about Elsa, and what does she bring to the city?
Well, I mean, not that the Roost was the first cocktail bar that opened in Winnipeg, but I thought when I come up with the concept of doing it sort of about all of the craft cocktail places in Winnipeg, but that seemed a bit too ambitious, and I decided that the Roost was unique in that it's a cocktail bar, which is sort of a new thing that's coming up anyway. And yeah, and Elsa just seemed like a really fascinating personality. She was a friend of a friend, so I kind of
So
already
that
had
makes
that
it
in.
easier.
Yeah.
Okay, so now Elsa actually made drinks for us. So
She did.
What did
They
she
look
make
very
us?
lovely. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not a bartender, so I'm gonna have to look at the menu here. This one is the Where We Left Off, which is a tequila cocktail. I tried it a minute ago, and it's very good. I think this wasp wants some.
Loves it. Yes. And what's in front of you?
And this one is smokestacks. Ooh, I'm gonna try it right now.
Good.
Really good, yeah. It's smoky, some bourbon in there.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so
chocolatey,
now this
very
is
nice.
called Snack in a Movie. So what did you bring for the snack?
My snack is original gummy bears, classic. Ideally paired with popcorn, but it was maybe a bit unprepared. But yeah, that would be my ideal movie snack: popcorn
And gummy bears.
candy.
Okay, so what's your favorite?
My favorite gummy bear?
Yeah.
Oh, the yellow.
The yellow ones.
Yeah,
Okay, well
lemon.
you can crack open those. And we are going to sit back and enjoy The Roost, the very first segment of City Specific by Nigel Webber.
A craft cocktail is something that's supposed to be interesting. It's supposed to like take over all different parts of your tongue and like, be an interesting experience. Every sensory pleasure possible should go into like the perfect craft cocktail. It's a cocktail presented in an unusual way. So it's not just a classic cocktail and it's not just a highball. It's something with a distinctive personality that you couldn't get anywhere else. It's like this was handcrafted by me for you specifically. I'm Elsa Taylor. This is The Roost. We're a craft cocktail bar. I'm the head bartender and part owner. I also make all my own syrups from scratch. I have a handwritten book of all my recipes. Make a new one every day. I just think putting love into it and doing something that nobody else is doing, and trying to find some sort of originality within this very much hype beast thing that's happening right now. So in my opinion, the most important thing is to have a really strong premise and to have something that everyone who walks in will know that you're wholeheartedly invested in and you really love what you're doing. And that's what I try to do here. I try to have my personality be present in every square inch of the room when I'm here. That's what people will come back for. And that's what makes it feel like an episode of Cheers, you know? I mean, even a couple years ago, Winnipeg didn't have any spaces that were identified as craft cocktail bars. I think that the people who started making craft cocktails in different independently owned local restaurants, I think those people sort of created a community of people who love to mix cocktails and then started opening their own places. And then, so that led us to having a couple places that are actually identified as craft cocktail bars now. And it just seems to be like happening more and more now. Winnipeg is a tricky city to open a restaurant or bar in, particularly a craft cocktail bar, I think just because it's a new sort of trend that's taking off here. Winnipeg is also, on the same token, a good place to open up a business like this because it's such a small, big city. So it's like a nurturing community. I think as a result, a lot of other restaurants that aren't craft cocktail bars are like, oh, we should probably step up our game a little bit because nobody really wants to drink like lime slush anymore. I think that we are, as a society, focused on intoxication. I'm not sure if it's because we're all just alcoholics and want to dress it up. I think it just loosens people's inhibitions, and it's something that's so deeply entrenched in our culture. While there is a lot of casual binge drinking in our society, particularly among young people, craft cocktail culture is one way to encourage savoring and slowing down and making the art of it and the conversation of it the focus. I mean, if you're too inebriated, you can't taste the complexities in a craft cocktail. What I would like to see happen with the bar scene in Winnipeg is more creativity being brought into it, more local business, fewer franchises. There's actually a destination as opposed to let's shovel food into our mouths, let's guzzle drinks. So it's more about savoring than just like getting shit-faced. I like to think of our cocktail culture sort of as counterculture to the mainstream like club and restaurant industry. No woman who works here is going to be forced to wear heels that are going to fuck up her feet, and she's not going to be forced to smile at men who are degrading her. It's been an aspiration of mine for quite some time to run a place that is safe for all oppressed groups, particularly because sexism is something that just runs rampant in the service industry. I want to have a place where women like feel comfortable coming in, having a seat at the bar, and it's not like, oh, it's just for you, like where's your date, you know, and they can like sit the way a businessman does at every other fucking bar in the world. It's really empowering, I think, to be able to be like, hey, get out, if someone's not being appropriate. And that's why we have a manifesto, and that's why it's like right in the menu, so that people can read it and be like, oh yeah, there is a code of conduct here. I can't be an asshole. And I think it's just due to the lack of representation of women in positions of authority and in positions of creative freedom, you know, especially in restaurants. I'm very fortunate to be in a position where I can kind of call bullshit on that and hopefully like inspire other girls to do the same, do whatever they want. There's no reason that you should be intimidated by like a 30-year-old scruffy dude in like a suit who thinks that he's the shit, because you do the same job as him and you can probably do it better and be cuter while you're doing it. It's very often like anything that I make has a distinctly feminine touch, but if you go to any sports bar in the world, it's very conventionally masculine. Nobody ever thinks about that. They think that's just the way the bars are, whatever, because the conventional feminine is something that has long been loathed in our society. And I am a person who wants to celebrate it. No, I'm always willing to engage in dialogue with people about it because it's important, and I don't want to push anyone away. I want everyone to be welcome here. I just think that if we put our personalities into it, that should be the ultimate goal. The people who enjoy a really good cup of coffee and are going to be at places like Tom Bargain and Little Sister and Parlor are also people who are going to, when they want to drink, they're more likely to go to, I like to think, like the Roost or, you know, Albert Street or any of the new cocktail bars that have popped up instead of like a mainstream franchise. And that's one thing that I think is extremely positive, because the more we support, you know, local independent businesses, the healthier our local economy is. And I think that we will do a lot of things to keep the existential dread at bay of being pawns in a capitalist society. And as adults, like in the society, there's lots of stress that happens in our workplaces, and I think that coffee culture and cocktail culture are both ways of being like, oh, we're gonna go for a cup of coffee, oh, we're gonna go for a cocktail, we're gonna take a break from the mundane nature of our daily existence, right? Like, so I think that makes sense. They're both just like, let's take a break, please. creativity, acceptance, love, magic, glitter. Mostly, I think I'll do the glitter thing.
Well, you know what? Seeing that segment on the Roost makes me want to try this cocktail, which we will momentarily, but there's some more segments along the way, right? So what have you been working on?
Yeah, so earlier this year I shot another episode of the city-specific series. It's about Nova Dance Collective. They're a contemporary dance group made up of all women, and this past March they put on a show at the Rachel Brown Theatre, and so I was there for that, and I've sort of just been working on it, editing it all together since then, and yeah, so that one's almost done.
Cool.
Should be ready shortly, and I just 2 days ago, finished shooting another episode about Synonym Arts Consultation. They've just finished doing the Wall-to-Wall Mural Fest, which was all the month of September. They were put up amazingly beautiful murals, a couple on Main Street, in Osborne, on Sherbrooke, all over the city.
Well, that must take a lot of time though, because you have to follow all these artists and plan it out, and you're probably shooting at all different hours of the day too.
Yeah, that one was kind of a bit easier because I just had to show up where they were painting, just kind of, coordinate with whoever and make sure that they were there, but otherwise I just kind of would have to show up and
a little bit more planning.
But it required a bit of planning and some effort, but yeah, it sort of was very spread out throughout the whole month, so I may not have been working very, very hard all at once, but yeah, it was with the day job and everything, it all adds up.
It all adds up. So last but not least, why do something like this, Nigel?
I just think that for the most part, these are stories that I believe in and I think need to be put out there. And I think that documentary filmmaking is one of the better ways to get stories out there. Like, you're a lot more likely to watch a short film than you are to read, say, a newspaper article or, even something like a short story or a poem. Those art forms are a lot less consumable, and we do live in a very short attention span culture where everyone needs the next thing.
Right.
And so if you can watch something and hear someone talk in their own words and see it for yourself, it's the closest thing to actually being there.
Right.
And now that's not always practical with everything, especially if you don't live in Winnipeg, it's hard to come and do these things.
Well,
but I'd like to to give people, whether they live in Winnipeg or not, a chance to see things that are happening in this city that they may or may not already know about.
And that's perfect, because we all want to celebrate our great city, and I think you are well on your way. We are so happy on Backstage 360 to be able to air and show these wonderful short stories that really reflect the city that we're in.
Thank you.
Special thanks to Elsa from the Roost. This has been awesome, but I think the wind is going to pick up and take off her roof. And special thanks to you, Nigel.
Thank you so much, Tracy.
Keep up the great work.
Thanks so much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And that's a wrap for Snack in a Movie.
It's the mystical strains of Ghost Twin on Electric City.